Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful, empowered harmonizers. We are zooming in and focusing in on a great viewer question, and that is to talk a little bit about a relationship with a narcissist and what Dr. Craig Malcolm would term sort of an echoist relationship that is developed. It's Dr. Craig Malcolm is a psychologist out of Harvard, I believe, and he has done extensive work and research and written books on the subject, and he calls sort of the relationship with a narcissist, it creates sort of an echoist, which when someone sort of is very sort of just echoes another's needs or wants or desires and just sort of, gives them to them, and then they find themselves in a very giving but oftentimes thrilling, but yet then exhausting relationship. And to talk a little bit about this dynamic, and what I really want to throw in there, and by the way, like so much love going out to all you who are hanging in there through this pandemic situation, like with all that's going on, like changes and everything. Whether you're working, not working, amen. Keep it going, keep it strong. But let's focus while we have the opportunity on some healing. We can do some really great work during these pressing times. And so what I really want to throw in the dynamic of understanding a relationship with a narcissist and the mistreatment that you kind of receive, in other words, that doesn't make sense, that creates the cognitive dissonance, like, how could this have happened? In our relationship, we had this understanding, and all of a sudden the bottom falls out. All of a sudden the call goes unanswered. All of a sudden they walk in with their new girlfriend or new boyfriend, and you're like, what? And then they've been all the while behind your back living, what I would call a double or triple life. When you start getting into a real severe situation where you're feeling you're really hurt, a negative impact because of the narcissist, you really need to heal yourself. This is an emotional wound. We've all been kids at one point or another, and we've all skinned our knee. We've all stubbed our toe. We've all fallen and hurt the good old elbow. Skin the chin. Remember that, you got a wound. This is an emotional wound. You fell on a harsh situation and you got hurt. This is we have to understand it, and I really believe in sort of getting some parallels so you can put a name to the face, or a name to the experience, a face to the experience, you in the experience, I am in that moment. So in the midst of it, you might have been like, not knowing how to deal with it, and like, awestruck, or like, holy guacamole, or holy whatever, holy vomitocious, and then, you don't know how to deal with it, and then so then you get this anger, or it can be, or your feelings can be very muffled, and you become very docile. You have to be very careful that you don't become complacent or docile, and then just as Dr. Craig Malcolm would call an echoist, which is you're docilely, helplessly following along and complying with all the needs, demands, wishes, of the narcissist. Why don't you wear your hair this way? Take that off. Don't do this. We're going to sit here and we're going to talk about your shoes with those jeans, where they sort of really take over everything. You can't, I've seen it all, gang, to men to women clients, you can't get your hair cut. The man is saying to the woman, his wife, you cannot cut your hair. All these different things, don't wear that belt. Sure, sometimes people, whatever, but we're talking about the control, and then the echoist, which is really when it becomes even, I would say, more complacent, more docile, more weak, more flimsy, more helpless and hopeless, and sort of giving up and being very lifeless in the presence of the narcissist. So you've completely given up. And you have to understand that how you react is how you take your power back. How you react and how you handle this situation, it's like, put the movie on pause. Let's talk about this before you go further. It's to say that, you are finding yourself in a relationship where you're either finding, yourself either too docile, too complacent, you don't know how to handle it, you don't know how to confront it, you don't know how things look, you don't know how things look like, you don't know how things, you don't like how things look moving forward. In other words, you have so much issues from your past that your futures don't look good. I was, developing this concept earlier, as I do with these videos. And if you've got so much crud from the past, then your future, you're looking through your future lens with that lens. So everything in your future looks like crud. So if you've ever seen like a big pile, like a big dump in a city or in, some area where they've got it, I mean, you're putting that in front of your viewfinder every morning when the sun rises, and you're not even seeing the beauty and the magnificence and the gift and the wonderment of each fresh day. You're looking at a pile of caca, or whatever people call that. I never use that word, but like you're just looking at refuse, and you're feeling like refuse. You're feeling like garbage. That is the echoist. That is Dr. Craig Malkin. When you're really beyond just codependent, and you've taken codependency another notch lower, and you're feeling just completely, useless, worthless, complacent. I mean, you feel lifeless. You feel that you don't, and you don't really own the sort of presence, and then you might start having a lot of aches and pains. You can't live your life. You can't, begin to, do just typical, normal, everyday things. It becomes difficult for you. And then the thing I really want to bring up in our video today, which is a really kind of key sort of crossroads issue, is not only, when you are in an echoist or codependent relationship with a narcissist where you're doing nothing but, giving to them, and you're like, it can be very superficial. You don't realize that there isn't any depth when you're in this, but it depletes your depth nonetheless. But nope, the narcissist, what are they doing with their time? They're, looking for second and third opportunities for relationships, second and third situations for jobs, communities, whatever it is, projects, whatever it is their situation is. Maybe they're just, good old thugs, and their goal for life is to literally be a slug under a rock. And all they want to do is hide and slime around in the dark and not move. I mean, so is your future like trying to match a narcissist? Are you trying to match energetically this narcissist from your past, and it's throwing a bunch of, caca, it's like a strange word, I don't know why I'm using that, but I guess that's a word for a whole bunch of junk. And then so that everything looks bleak, unhappy, your future looks miserable. I mean, it's like you're pulling up the window, and then you're looking, oh, look at this, you're on the 12th floor and you're looking at nothing but a pile of garbage, refuge from a city, a country. It's covering your everything. I mean, that's an echoist. You don't have any sort of self-value or self-worth. You don't feel that you have an ounce of self-worth that you can take a shot of courage or wheatgrass or whatever it is and go out the door. You're really just sort of an echoist. You're just there to meet their needs. I mean, they want you to be whatever, then you are whatever. They want you to be a paralegal, then you go and become a paralegal. They want someone who is a musician. Well, you go out and you try to become a musician, but that's not the real you, and so you won't become a very good, happy, you won't feel very competent if you're being an echoist. You will feel incompetent, that you're not really sort of cut out for the job, but you still keep trying. You're trying to be a counterforce to their force. David Hawkins, important stuff that he reads in Power. He writes and discovers and studies in Power versus Force. Very intensive stuff, high level. But anyway, the crossroads that I want to get in here is the relationships. Then at that point, I feel it's like a rent versus own relationship. We've all heard the story about the rental car. I know we have a lot of international viewers. I don't know what rental car situations are like in your area or, things like that. But oftentimes, you know, you hear about, rental car people, driving it super fast or doing this and this, not caring for the vehicle. This isn't my vehicle. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to be responsible for tearing up the brakes or tearing up the accelerator or whatever it is that they might do to damage the car. They're on a rental car relationship. And all they can do is give it back. Thank you for the rental car for 1 month. Thank you for the rental car for 3 years. This was awesome. Here you go. Let me sign up where I said I would. Boom. Nice to see you. Here's a quarter. Call someone who cares. And they just walk on off, kind of dust their shirt off, and they just go moseying down the path. And you're standing there like, what? I thought we owned this car. Why aren't they treating me better? It's like, because they don't have a pride of relationship. They don't have a pride of togetherness. They don't have an empathy connection. They're not treating you well. A narcissist just goes and helps themselves to anything. I mean, these are kind of people who you give them your keys, they'll just open up the house and make themselves a banana split and then leave and, lock the door and then mosey on down the street. I mean, they just help themselves to whatever it is they want. This is kind of just what the narcissist does. If you want to look at it on a give and take, you might feel like you give and you might feel like that they take. But anyway, it's kind of like, as I was discussing, it's kind of like a rent versus own relationship. If somebody rents, let's say, a property, and then they think, well, the owners will take care of the windows. The owners will take care of this. I don't have to worry about this. I don't really have to take responsibility and ownership. So it's like they don't, have any pride, like maybe keeping it clean, keeping it painted, keeping the landscaping, keeping the roof in, keeping the siding, keeping the pipes, keeping the appliances up to par, making sure that everything looks nice. It's like, if you own it, you better take care of it. Get up on the ladder, start doing them bushes. Even if you're CEO of, wherever, Boeing, you're up there and you're taking care of your hedges. I mean, at some point you're taking ownership. And I think because of the ownership, it's kind of like you're in it for the long run. So you're like, you know what? I better take care of these gutters. If I don't take care of these gutters, then like I'm going to have to pay another $20,000 to get my gutters in if you're an owner. If you're a renter, I don't care about these gutters. Let them fill up. Let someone else take care of it. So it's kind of like, the narcissist, they're not in it for that ownership. Like, they're not in it for that, like, long run. They're not in it to take care of it. Like, oops, they broke your arm. We need, we're a team here. We need both arms, don't you? Let's get you to the hospital. Let's bandage you up. Like, we're here. We're, together on this. Like, that's a partner. And I think what a lot of the viewers are looking for. They're looking for like that companionship where it's like, we're in this together, and they feel like that closeness and like that warmth and connection and that trust and reliance, rather than all this waffly up and downs. Everyone's going to have up and downs, but when the relationship is all up and downs and you thought a phase, it was going to be a phase and that things would change, and it's been to 8 or 10 years and it's still that up and down, you have to then go, wow, okay, let me take stock of some things. This is going up and down. Like, this is what is happening here. It is what it is. And like, you have to kind of remove, and then see it for what it is and realize, you might have some emotions, like we were saying, that get hurt, so you have to understand what it is then to heal, and saying, I've been treated like I'm a rental, property when I'm an owner property. You've mistreated me. I mean, I'm just saying as a comparison, and I use a lot of analogies here on the channel to help articulate sort of what is in the dark, what is from the nothingness, where we need to go to shine light on your journey like a flashlight. Like, what am I going to do here? Where is the path? Like, I cannot see it. if I go forward, I don't know if I'm going to fall into a lake. I don't know if I'm going to fall into a lake of bubble bath. I don't know if I'm going to fall into a lake of tigers and lions. Like, I ain't going forward because I don't know what is forward out there. Like, that's why people feel stuck, stalled, blocked, just because they don't know what their future is. All they are is projecting then their fear of their past, and history will repeat itself. And that's the story that's going through their subconscious and driving their dreams. And so they're not seeing the bright side of the street. They're not seeing the quote unquote silver lining. They're not seeing a path, out, away. Let's do this, let's exit stage left. Like, how many chances do you need? So it's kind of like, that is, I think, kind of a parallel or a comparison, because they don't treat you like you're going to be there for the long run. They don't treat you with the respect or that empathy, and that creates that echoist sort of reaction. It creates a counterforce to meet that force. So if you're going to get along swimmingly with them, then you're going to become, something to be service to their needs. If that's all you are, you're not going to feel that you have ownership of anything for yourself. You're going to become as an echoist. Like, you're always going to be thinking about them. Like, you want to get yourself enrolled in school. Next thing you know, you're picking up pamphlets for them to go to school and helping them with their school. Like, they're taking the place of your needs. They're taking the place of, your priority. Like, your priority is you. Your priority is not them. You're the most important thing, not them. The narcissist will lead you to believe otherwise. Do not be fooled by such trickery. Do not be fooled by such lies, especially when the lies are pathological, especially when the lies are chronic, ongoing, and consistent. Like they say, a tiger doesn't lose its stripes. Like, it's gonna do it. That's the design. I guess that's what that saying means, if you all have any other experience with that statement. But they ain't going to change. I mean, they can get a haircut on their hide or whatever, but it's still going to grow back. They don't lose their spots. They don't lose their stripes. Like, that's just a saying, meaning like, that is who you're going to be dealing with. Like it or not, take it or not, the good with the bad, but that is what you get. That is, and with the narcissist, oftentimes what you see is not what you get. That's the problem, especially with a covert narcissist. And then that, what you see is not what you get. They put forth, that they're this, shortcake, whatever of a gal, sweet as Georgia Peach or whatever you want. Next thing you know, she's got 3 other guys. She's cheating with so and so. I mean, you have to understand that this gets really gnarly, especially in settings where you're like, we need to be stable here. Like, this is really embarrassing, upsetting, and this needs to be corrected. Like, we need a correction here. Like, so you might have to be the one to champion this for yourself, is what I'm saying. And, that is going to have to be the name of the game for you. You have to realize that to overcome echoism from the echoist is a reaction. It's a kind of a reaction formation, I would say, like Freud. It's a concept where it's a reaction to being with this person, because usually they're the boss, okay? He is the boss. She is the boss. How many of you can say you feel that they're trying to sort of put out that vibe, or that sort of a dynamic in the relationship? Like, I'm the one who's the leader, you're the follower. And to what degree does that cross over into all areas? Are they the leader in the dishes? Are they the leader in the bed, where we sleep? Are they the leader in how we organize the garage? I mean, to what degree is this then shared, acknowledged and validated, and then shared and sort of agreed upon? Like, or does it become unspoken and then unmanageable and out of control, where, the narcissist then is constantly overriding? It's kind of like the narcissist boss, but like even in normal relationships with your family, with your siblings. They're being bossed around. You feel they're being too pushy. They're trying to treat you as a pushover. And it becomes very bad. People then say, I find that I am, or I feel like a pushover. I feel like I can't stand up to them. I feel like I don't know what to do. Like listlessness, meaning not being able to talk, not being able to come up, listless. I don't have a list. I don't have anything to talk about. And so it's codependence can take another step or two down, which is very strange and probably a very awful place, and really where the senses are really down and dingy. I mean, where people don't take care of themselves. They feel that they don't have a life. They don't go to the grocery store. They don't ever take a shower. They don't go to job. They then claim disability. They just go further down into the depths. So you have to realize, to what direction would you like to be attracted to? What direction are you attracted to? So you have to realize that then in decision making, I feel more and more, especially for people who are empathetic, there is a magnetism occurring where you have to feel and understand where attraction is trying to draw you, and is this in the name of the highest good? And if you can become that close and aware and develop that keen alignment and constitution where you're really inherently listening to your gut and it's driving you and following you, and then you feel that your aches and pains go away and you lighten up, and that you have a future and that you can trust and see in this, and it doesn't involve you leaning on anybody, or just sort of falling on them, but you can fall on yourself, rather than asking them if you look okay, asking yourself, do you plan the evening? Can I plan the evening? Kind of pull some things back into your court a little bit if they've gotten away. And if they've gotten away, it's also because then why did they get away? Wow. Okay, so the video is going long, but as I feel, we could do like hour-long specials on this topic. I don't know how long you guys can handle, or if you guys are even still here, but my question is to understand that they can become sort of feeling like that they override everybody else's power, like you might see in some political system where they are the boss. Like they must be unquestioned. Whether they come at you with a breadboard and a paddle and they were your parents and they were authoritarian and they were narcissistic and they didn't, realize or have any sensitivity to how you felt. They were numb or uneducated to how you felt. They were from a previous generation, a previous century. They lived under a rock. They never had a heart, whatever it is. Let's just get that out in the open and acknowledge and validate that. And then realize that if it's so severe and so harsh that they are almost like a boss where you have to do what they tell you to do. Like you feel that you have no choice. As an echoist, you don't have a self to consult with. You don't have any sort of potential or resource within yourself you don't have any ability. You don't have any faith in self. You don't have the presence of awareness of like I think maybe you'd call it like autonomy or self-love, or that sort of self-ownership, where it's coming from a value but that hasn't been diminished and ground down and really extinguished is a word. Extinguished is also a word in psychology where you extinguish a behavior, meaning to stop it, where they sort of stop your growth. They sort of keep, they sort of stunt your growth. In other words, you can't have a hobby here at this time of your life. You can't have this happiness in a relationship at this time in your life. So they will create a lot of limitations. People will feel very small, meek, truncated, unlistened to, post-traumatic stress syndrome, uncomfortable going out, and then their life where they used to be able to drive several hundred miles or, several days and go on trips. Now, it's their circumference of life is shrinking. They are becoming an echoist, so you have to be careful, that you're not playing into the hands of the narcissist subconsciously. And there's a great question. So I think, we're going to wrap it up. This is your buddy, peace and harmony with you here today. And always, I hope that these videos do help. Please share, please subscribe, and please donate for more great tools, videos, discussions, and support. If you have questions, and please comment, please exchange with each other. This is meant to be a place, an exchange where you can have, a vlog board to discuss and put some things out there and maybe message in private or use it however you need. So I hope that these videos do help. Have a beautiful day. Thank you for sharing.